Cyrano is an expert swordsman and an expert wordsman, and after his unrequited love, Roxanne admits to him that she is madly in love with a new recruit of his. Cyrano decides to use his wordsmith abilities to help bring the two of them together despite his undying love for Roxanne. Hello, everybody. My name is Josh, Movie Apprentice, and today I'm reviewing Cyrano, which stars Peter Dinklage as well as Haley Bennett and Kevin Harrison Jr. This is one of the musicals that came out in the States last year but didn't come out until about a week and a half ago over here in the UK. And I wasn't going to review this one, but I actually did enjoy this film. I do actually want to talk about it. So today we are reviewing this particular movie. This film has only got one Oscar nomination for costume design, which is obvious because it is very much a period piece. Now I have to stress the fact that I'm not a huge fan of period piece films. I find usually when it comes to award season, it's always the period pieces that I like the least. And musicals, I'm very mixed on them. So the fact I enjoyed Cyrano was a shock in itself. This is basically 2 hours of Peter Dinklage really flexing why he is such a great actor. The way he manages to convey emotions across the spectrum when he's holding back in tears, when he's holding back in frustration and anger, but always keeping that straight face. He is really good in this role and wipes the floor with pretty much everyone else in this film. There are some people that are really annoyed that he didn't get nominated for any major awards this award season, and I can see why, because he very much is showing that he is more than just Tyrion Lannister. Though, weirdly enough, he is once again playing a very intelligent dwarf that deals with a lot of discrimination, but only this time he's very good with a sword as well. While that means that sometimes the action set pieces can be a little bit janky because they have to account for the size difference between the actors, for the most part the action scenes do work really well, even if the camera work can be a little choppy at times. Obviously, with musicals, like I say, there's always going to be choreography, and the choreography and set design of this is really good. There are some fantastic single frame shots that you could literally screenshot and put on your wall that are gorgeously framed and gorgeously lit. The structure of the film is played really well. Like, as a play that's being brought to the big screen, it is done masterfully, and all the actors in this did a really solid job. The camera movement between the dance sequences is really well done. And when it comes to the characters monologuing in song, those are some of the strongest moments in the film. But whilst I can do nothing but praise Peter Dinklage for his performance in this, I have to say that the thing that made this film cross over from just being okay to fairly decent to really good in my eyes was the fact that towards the end we get a scene that features no main characters. It literally features three nameless men, and their 5 minutes in screen time touched me in a way that the rest of the film hadn't quite managed to do. This entire 10-minute sequence that occurs starting with these three men towards the end of that sequence, that is a cinematic scene and sequence that really sticks with you, and it is the one song that I have been listening to on repeat, and I do love how the film transitioned into that sort of theme and story towards the tail end, because as much as I do enjoy some romance, you couldn't really get behind any characters in this when it came to the romantic plots. You have Cyrano, who probably has the most pure of intentions, but is still very much living a fantasy, knowing that the words he is writing is what's making Roxanne infatuated, but his pride and his self confidence stops him from truly believing that it's actually his words that Roxanne is falling in love with and not actually the man presenting them words under the guise of being him. Roxanne is a questionable love interest. She's very independent, don't get me wrong, but she is also very manipulative. She plays the game of manipulation very well in this, but it's very hard to root for her, especially as she decides she loves this random individual that she locked eyes with once. And there's this whole scene where she's describing this individual to Cyrano, and the way she's describing him sounds a lot like Cyrano. And but then obviously she reveals she hadn't spoken to the guy yet, so it's sort of how is she able to realize all this about this character by just one exchange look. Christian, who plays the other love interest in this, he is, well, his motives are just he found Roxanne attractive and was infatuated with the look of her, and that's about it. I don't feel we get anything about his character or him as a person other than he really wants to get with Roxanne, which is quite a shame because Kevin Harrison Jr. does do a good job with what he is given, but there's not really a whole lot of him to sink into this role, and quite frankly, his arc is very lackluster. And then you have a noble character played by Ben Mendelsohn that Roxanne is seeing, but only because he is rich and she is really broke, so she needs the money. And the way she manipulates him is very good, and he plays a despicable villain. There is a scene where he strongly implies something, and you don't have to think very hard about it, but it makes you despise this character with every fiber of your being. Those are like your four main key players, but as I said, this film for me very much rides on the fact that there is a fantastic sequence towards the end featuring three nameless men. That is the element that stuck with me the most, and obviously Peter Dinklage, reflection how great he is as an actor, is obviously nothing to sniff at as well. But sadly, with all the selfish motivations of our main characters and the unsatisfying way that some of these character arcs play out, that knocks the film down for me. So while it's very performance driven and the choreography and cinematography is really good in this, it doesn't quite hit the heights of some other musicals that I saw last year. So overall, I'm going to have to say that for me, Cyrano is a tea that needs more sugar. So Cyrano, have you seen it? If you have, let me know what you thought down in the comments below. If you made it this far, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to the channel for more reviews coming like this all the time. I should have my spoiler review of The Batman out tomorrow, and not sure where we're going after that, but if you want to find out, do hit that bell notification and stick around for the next one. But until next time, everybody, my name is Josh, I have been your Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all